You entrusted your loved one's care to a nursing home, expecting compassion and quality treatment. Instead, they suffered from neglect, abuse, bed sores, falls, or medication errors that could have been prevented. I'm Chris Brown from Geiger Legal Group. Our elderly deserve dignity and proper care, not negligence that causes pain and suffering. When nursing homes fail in their duty of care, we fight to hold them accountable. Your loved one's suffering matters. We'll stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves.
Call Geiger Legal Group at 833-HELP-GLG and let us tell your story today.
You snoozed twice this morning, spilled your coffee once, and you've already blamed last night's referee for your morning mood.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's time to embrace the chaos and step into the madness.
Bro, you're about to see a side of me you didn't even know existed.
Featuring guests who are over-caffeinated and less reasonable than the average person.
Man, I think it's just ridiculous.
Come on, man. Are you serious?
Fans, where else would you rather be than right here, right now? Welcome to the show.
So buckle up. It's time for hot takes and hot mics. This is the Morning Rant, where the only thing more unpredictable is days before his third cup of coffee.
I just felt like running.
On WPGY, the Sports Pig.
What's up, North Georgia? It's a Friday happy hour edition of the Morning Rant, presented by your friends at Bradley's Bar and Grill. Again, East Copp's #1 dive bar since 1998. Again, East Cobb, Lower Roswell Road, man. We'll be there next Friday. Hey, thanks for being with us right here on this Friday edition of the program. I'm here with my man, Big John Davis. Again, I'm Dave Garner. We'll be here till 11 o'clock this morning as we chop it up. And a lot of things to talk about. A World Cup going on, man. Some matches taking place yesterday. Team USA going at it tonight. A busy weekend. You've got a lot of UFC, boxing, the White House UFC card taking place on Sunday. Yeah. A lot of big matches right there. A lot of folks have been talking a lot about that. But again, we're gonna touch on a lot of different things, but we're gonna spend a lot of our time talking about, of course, the whole Brandon Sorsby situation, the NCAA, some of the things that we've been talking about throughout the week. But we're gonna dive in just a little bit deeper today, and we're gonna share some stories. We're gonna go down memory lane with my man Big John Davis right here on this Friday happy hour as well. Partner, man, looking good, man. I love that backdrop, man. That's looking sharp.
We're getting there by piece. You know, we just got to keep working on it and add some more things, get the picture a little bit better, and we'll be in good shape.
I love it, man. It's looking really good right here on a Friday happy hour. Again, Big John with the Georgia Tech polo, as always, right there's got the jerseys hanging up behind him. Got the Sports Pig rally towel there as well. Of course, I got a bunch of rally towels behind me here inside our Carriage Kia studios. A busy weekend for a lot of different things, and there's some people that have said around the country that this might be the single best week, at least in recent years, for sports, because you've got the NBA Finals, which, regardless of whether you're, a Knicks fan, Spurs fan, which I'm admittedly not an NBA fan at all, and I know you're not either, John. But again, it has been interesting, to say the least. You've got the NHL Finals, which have been just absolutely epic. You've got, of course, now the World Cup going on here in America. You've got, all these different things going on. Of course, baseball, as we know, and some of the normal things. So there are a lot of things, and we're not even into football season yet. Right. I can't imagine what it's going to be like when we get in there as far as this show goes. But yeah, man, just a lot of things going on. If you're a sports fan right now, I mean, it's almost like you're back in college bowl season with all the different TVs and monitors you're trying to keep track of.
Exactly. Yeah. No, this is you go back to the what were you saying? The basketball games. The reason why those that have been epic are going to be epic is now that it's the best 2 out of 3. This is the best scenario you can possibly get into. And World Cup, I watched a little bit about that. One of my thoughts about the World Cup, and I know it's not that well to the teams, it's a big deal. To me, I would like to see it for competitive reasons, is that I like to see all the games really close. Because when they get out of their bracket, I love to see about 15 or 16 or 17 teams all in that top 8, that they have to get into that top 8 to figure out, because that might be more soccer. I don't know what the rules are and stuff. Who knows? But it would make fun if they had to have like maybe a half of a playoff. But no, there was some. I watched a little bit of it. I didn't because our Braves, who were ready to dog, out of the world, 0-2. Thank God for the rain last night. I hope the people up there are safe. I heard they had bad storms. But, going back to the hockey last night, watching it, I was just like. I keep going back and forth. I thought Colorado was going to be my team, but the more I watch Carolina, just the way they kept Las Vegas on their heels the whole night.
They really did. Yeah.
Get ahead, and they, got the 4-2 win. So.
Yep, they did. Yeah, Canes over the Golden Knights last night in Game 5, 4-2, the final there. As Carolina takes a 3-2 series lead now, and they will head back to Vegas over the weekend for what could potentially be the clincher. Meanwhile, the New York Knicks, as we talked about, 3-1 now over the Spurs. The Spurs with the epic meltdown, and they're already likening the Spurs. There's different things popping off on NFL memes and other places that the Spurs have officially changed their logo, and it's the Atlanta Falcon basically with the spur is the the hands there. The Falcons will never escape 28-3. If you're a Falcons fan, you just have to live with that for the rest of your life, regardless of what happens. But now the Spurs, and anytime anybody blows a big lead in any sport, it always conjures up the image of the Atlanta Falcon logo.
Well, when we were playing Houston that year, we were down 38-3 or 35-3, and we came back and beat them. None of my former teammates would even speak to me. And I understood it because it was that was a hard pill to swallow, and they weren't very nice to all the notes they sent to the Super Bowl that year. So it hurts. It hurts. I mean, good for the Knicks. I think it's rigged. But that's just me. That's my opinion, everybody. Don't get upset. It's not anybody else's. I think the whole thing's rigged. They are beating the crap out of each other, Dave. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. Hey, and Wemby's doing the same thing, but I saw tackling moves out there on the court. I'm just like thinking to myself, blocking moves, and I was just like, the refs have made it a point. I think what they thought was that Wemby was going to fold under the physicalness of the game, and they've seen that he hadn't, so now they can't call it. They got to keep calling it strong. They can't start call ticky-tack fouls. So these next 2-3 games are going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, there you go. We actually had it. It's funny you said that yesterday. And our Jasper Coca-Cola text line is open, by the way, 866-888-0744. We want to hear from you on this Friday happy hour edition of the Morning Rant. But, we did have somebody that wrote in and said the NBA is rigged. That might have been you. I don't know. But anyway, somebody chimed in and said that. And, you got to wonder. But, no, again, it's been competitive. But, you blow a 29-point lead. We talked about it yesterday. We ranted about it. Billy D and I, 2-hour show yesterday during our tailgate Thursday at Biggins Barbecue, which, by the way, thank you to everybody that showed up. We had several people that were listening that drove by, came and saw us, so we do appreciate the folks that did show up there. Good crowd at Biggins, as always, even through the week. And again, our next live show, we'll talk about that later in this program. It's going to be a week from today. Next Friday, we will be back at Bradley's for the second leg of our Bradley's Brunch and Lunch, our summer tour there. And we're going to have a lot of things going on, and we'll talk about that again later in the show. But our Jasper Coca-Cola text line is open, 866-888-0744. Also, I don't want it to get overshadowed because I know that you've been paying attention to it. But let's not forget, with everything else going on this weekend, and we've got College World Series that we're going to talk about, some other things, the UFL, of all things. The championship, man, is this weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
Man after my own heart. D.C. Defenders against the Louisville Kings. And D.C., I think, was ranked number one, or I think they were number one. They because of what they did in their conference. But, it's going to be a good game. And, we've talked about it, and I know people laugh, and I'm going to look it up right quick, but I know people laugh, but it's a lot of fun watching these guys play because they have something to play for. And so that's why that's why I love it so much. And the game will be now that my computer's not working, 3:30 on ABC. Yeah, it didn't used to be an ABC slot. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So that owner's done a very good job, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, No, I'm wrong. The defenders were 4 and Louisville was 3, so I'm wrong. So, but no, I mean their offenses. The only problem that I see, because I looked at some of the overall stats of the team stats of the whole UFL, but especially DC and Louisville, turnovers. I mean, they just got a crap load of turnovers, and they've got a crap load of penalties. So that could be a game breaker, one way or the other. I kind of doubt it, because I think they kind of worked all those problems out near the end of the season. So, yeah, it's just another 3 o'clock in the afternoon on ABC to watch a little bit of football, because I believe this is it. I believe this is it until the Hall of Fame game.
I think so, yeah. I can't know how it'll be the next action we see. Yeah, the over-under. They're expecting some points in that thing, though. Yeah, the over-under at 49.5, it looks like. So, yeah.
I remember when this started 10 weeks ago, I remember I pull out my notes sometimes, and I remember telling you the first 3 or 4 weeks, I always bet the under. And then after that, once the offense is getting the groove, start betting the over. So it's very I will say to Coop, that's very predictable. So if he ever wants to get on the UFL standings betting line, then that's a little tidbit for him.
Hey, Golden Boy, I hope you're listening right now. Again, Will Cooper, our man with the Cooper Predictor, see if we can build it in. He's got it down with the football stuff, so I'm sure he could probably work in the UFL there in the springtime as a good tune-up. Hey, we talked a little bit, speaking of, about high school sports and high school football. August 21st is kind of the universal opening week for the GHSA, and we ran through a lot of the area high schools yesterday as far as their opening matchups. So, again, that is kind of on the horizon. I mean, if you look at it, we're about 60 days away, basically, or maybe a little over, from the start of the high school football season here in Georgia. So we will rapidly get there quick, and that's the thing. And as we talked about earlier in the week, our show, certainly when we get closer to football season, is going to be very football heavy, just because it's not only, what we enjoy, but it's what you guys enjoy. I mean, we're in North Georgia. The demographic, as we all know, football is king, but even at the high school level, certainly Georgia has some of, the best talent in the country year in and year out. They're producing more 5-star athletes than, even the Texases and Floridas and Californias of the world, with much less population that we have here in Georgia. So per capita, man, I think high school football in Georgia, and I know I'm a little biased, but I would say it's the best in the country per capita, as far as the talent that's coming out of this state.
Yeah, I think it's stronger than ever. And I think one of the things that you've got to give credit to is the recruiters of these different teams, because, listen, in 1980, I don't think there was a lot of people scouring Ella-J, Fannin, Jasper, all of those small towns. And thank God for a small town in West Georgia named Tryon. And, we go over there and play.
Tryon Bulldogs, baby. There you go.
Yeah, playing against a great team and a great player, Stacy Searles, and that's when they found me out recruiting. Alabama was there looking at Stacy, and as the word I got it was that Bear told whoever was recruiting, he says, you need to get on over to Ella-J. So and that's the story I got. So there's some great kids, and you just showed me this week. We got a gentleman from Jasper who got an offer from Georgia Tech.
David Kirby, he's going to be just a sophomore this year. Wow. So he's a class of 2029, already getting some offers there, as are several other kids up and down the Highway 515 and 75 corridors, of course. We talk about North Georgia being a hotbed now. And, traditionally, like to your point, we're up against the first break, but, not a traditional hotbed of D1 talent, particularly in the quote-unquote mountain schools of North Georgia. But we're seeing that starting to change a little bit. I mean, there's some good talent certainly coming through those mountain areas. And, man, you laid the groundwork, man, for some of these other kids now to come along.
I'd love to think that. But we actually had 4 or 5 very good linemen in North Georgia at the time. John Ivanmeyer, Stacy Searles, Bill Mayo over at Dalton. But we can talk about that another day.
There we go. Absolutely. A continuing conversation right here on the Morning Rant. Hey, thanks for joining us here on the Friday happy hour edition of the program. Brought to you by your friends at Bradley's Bar and Grill, again, off of Lower Roswell Road there in East Cobb. We'll be there next Friday, and we'll talk about that a little bit more as well. Keep it right here on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com.
Make your home's air healthier. Green Heating and Cooling can help by installing a Bryant Evolution air purifier just for you. Using captures and Kills technology, this highly advanced MERV15 filter captures many select airborne pathogens. It also helps improve indoor air quality for both asthma and allergy sufferers by filtering air impurities like dust, pollen, and pet dander. Call to schedule an evaluation. Green Heating and Cooling, your top Bryant authorized dealer, whatever it takes.
An hour of Dave a day keeps the workday full of play. Woo-hoo! It's time for the Friday morning happy hour on the Morning Rant.
And back here on this Friday happy hour edition of the Morning Rant. Thanks for joining us, man. The weekend is upon us, and there are a lot of things going on. The College World Series, the Georgia Bulldogs tomorrow night right here live at 8 o'clock on the Sports Pig. That's right. Our friends at Learfield and the University of Georgia will be piping that ball game in for you against Texas tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Yes, we will carry it right here on the Sports Pig, on the app and sportspigradio.com. So, again, keep it locked right here. First pitch, again, at 8 o'clock. Right after the Braves game, we'll have Braves baseball around 4:10 tomorrow, I think, his first pitch. And then right after that, we'll break away. We'll go right into Georgia as they take on Texas in the first matchup there for the Dogs in Omaha. And then depending on what they do from there, we'll continue to follow them through. Meanwhile, the Braves, as John mentioned, rained out last night, in action tonight in New York to take on the Mets, the first of a weekend series slate against New York. That one at 7:15 tonight. So again, a lot of baseball taking place over the weekend right here. We just had a caller text in on our Jasper Coca-Cola text line 866-888-0744. They said, "Hey, what was the difference for the Knicks in the second half of Game 4? Why did Wemby have zero impact in the fourth quarter?" And that's from Brock in LJ. So, Brock, thanks for the shout right here on our Jasper Coca-Cola text line. Again, 866-888-0744. And, John, I mean, you talked about it. I mean, they're beating and banging each other. I'm not sure they wore the Spurs down. I think the Spurs just got complacent, honestly. I mean, I think it's psychologically, we talked about this yesterday as a professional athlete, and I did want to get your take on this because I think that there's something in the back of your mind. At the end of the day, even pro athletes are human, right? There's just something psychological about knowing you've got a big lead. So they say. They talk about, having a big lead. I mean, what is the mindset? Is it just that the Knicks made that many adjustments? Did the Spurs just, get comfortable? I mean, you would think in a series like that against a team that is a good team, if you crack that door open, they're going to walk through it. So I'm not sure if it was a psychological thing that was going on there, but I don't understand how you can score almost 80 points in a half of basketball, and then 15, 20 minutes you come out, and then you can't even score 30 the entire second half. So there's obviously a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, I think what you said, I'm going to just say all of the above. I mean, it was the perfect storm is what it was. And I think the Spurs were wore down. They were all getting beaten up pretty bad. And listen, there's a deadly word out there that if you ever let it begin, it's going to be the downfall, and that's momentum. Right. And once you start to smell, I mean, as a player, and I hope I understand or explain this correctly, but as a player, you when you're on the field and you might be behind and you know what you have to do, but there's a point in time you start to calm down a little bit and say, okay, you know what, we got this. I remember playing in Buffalo so many times at the beginning that we would be so tense and trying to push things. We knew how good we were. We knew with the K-gun offense what we could do, what we couldn't do. And then, but once we got into that first drive or maybe the second drive, it was like everybody was just like, take a deep breath and let's go out there, and then we'd put 35 up. And so it would, so it's just, I think all three happened. That's a great question because it's hard to help people understand from an athlete's perspective. If I'm sitting out there for three quarters and just getting beat up on and not getting any protection from the refs, then you start to back off a little bit. You're not, and now let me put it this way, Dave. Let me just say this. I don't want to blame or say anything bad about Wemby, but some of the greatest players that's ever played wouldn't fold. Okay? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that about Wemby, but I'm just saying some of the greatest players out there that if you go back and look, they will not fold, and they're going to give everything, whether they're 1 point or 31 points behind. But great question. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go again. Brock from LJ chiming in to listen to right here again on our Jasper Coca-Cola text line. We want to hear from you, 866-888-0744, as we talk about the NBA final. Are you into combat sports much? Like, do you watch boxing? Do you watch UFC, MMA stuff?
I like boxing.
Yeah.
I MMA and all that. I went to a match years ago, and I'm just like, I'm just not into it. But boxing,
right.
yes.
I've always loved boxing. My dad was a boxed Golden Gloves. He boxed in the Navy. So, again, some pretty good matches taking place this weekend. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show as well. The big White House UFC card on Sunday, though, features some true banger matchups, man. I'm telling you. I mean, and we'll run down some of those as well a little bit. My son and I were talking about that last night there. But,
Let me tell you this before. I'm sorry to cut you off. You can smack me later. We had when I lived in LJ after I retired, we had a group of guys. Whenever the big matches would come on, you'd have your heavyweight on down. And back then, in the early to mid '90s to late '90s, that was pretty good heavyweight boxing. And,
oh, yes.
Tyson, and then you had all these other guys coming up. That we'd go down there and just have a ball. We'd find a restaurant. We'd get a limo driver to take us down because we were very careful. And we would have 6 or 8 guys go down there and have a great – that's how much we loved it. I mean, we could have gone to somebody's house, but everybody's like, you know what, let's run down here and watch it in the bar atmosphere. And there were some great fights,
Well, and that was the thing back then. I mean, you didn't have all those streaming services you have now.
Exactly.
You had HBO, you had HBO, and you had Showtime, basically, and then Cinemax or whatever, and then you had then they got into the pay-per-view thing. So you'd have to just be like dedicated pay-per-view, and so that's where you would have to go out to the tavern or what have you to watch some of those Tyson fights, like you talked about. We get together, we go to Sidelines or wherever as college students and watch Tyson fight. And you're right, man, it was epic. I mean, that was before the the UFC, the MMA. Stuff really came along. Boxing was it, man, and you had so many colorful personalities, But I feel like now with the UFC kind of gaining its popularity, it's kind of taken over more so to the extent that boxing has almost become watered down. Because let's face it, most of the average United States population probably couldn't even tell you right now who the world heavyweight champion is. Yeah, you know what I mean?
True.
So,
True.
I mean, but everybody used to know who the world heavyweight champion was back in the day. It was all, whether it was Lennox Lewis or whether it was Evander Holyfield or whether it was George Foreman or whether it was, Mike Tyson or Evander or whatever. So it's just one of those things, I'm
going to forget his name, but when we played the Super Bowl here in Atlanta, Bruce Smith had one of his friends over. I want to say his name was Sweet Pea, but I can't remember his last name. And of course, he came in. He was like a featherweight or a welterweight, one of those small guys. But I say small, he would knock me out just looking at me. But he'd come in with his big entourage and everything, and it was so cool because I was just like thinking, dude, I watched you on TV the other day, and but yeah, we had a boxing guy in our midst after that faithful Super Bowl in Atlanta.
There you go, man. Golly, I feel you, man. Hey, UFC Freedom 250, Tapiria on the card there again. Alex Pereira, Sean O'Malley. I mean, you go on down the list. Derek Lewis. I mean, pretty much all of these fights that are happening at the White House this weekend. They're doing the card at the White House Sunday at 8:00. Presented by Crypto.com, and it's all of these matches would be a headliner on any other card, but they're all basically headline matches, and I think that's why it's getting so much publicity there. But yeah, a lot of stuff going on, of course, this weekend as we talked about. World Cup USA men's team going at it tonight at 9:00. It's a late start, taking on Paraguay. A lot of folks probably can't even find Paraguay on a map. We were joking about that earlier over on our sister station. But nonetheless, man, the World Cup going at it. Mexico getting the big dub yesterday. And
I'll tell you this, streaming will be off for me at 9:00 because I'm looking forward to watching it. So I can talk about it on Monday with you.
Right. There you go, man. There you go.
Give our fans the ins and outs of all the strategic moves that the U.S. did or did not make.
Absolutely, man. Loving it. Hey, let's transition back into some football for just a second, and we'll carry this conversation into the next segment as well. But a little bit of moving and shaking going on in the NFL this week, particularly for the Atlanta Falcons. They did make a trade, picked up a former third-round pick, and again, Tampa Bay also in the news there as well. And, of course, the big news earlier this week, Patrick Mahomes, the $500 million record deal there, again, for Patrick Mahomes. So a lot of things coming across the wire over the last couple of days.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's we keep saying this is supposed to be the quiet time, and I just read another article a few minutes ago talking about how big, even though it's not until November, how big the draft deadline is going to be, and how important it's going to be across the NFL. And I'm assuming that has a lot to do with the upcoming draft as well. The 27 draft, but
right,
yeah. And then I'm looking at a headline here, Dave. I kid you not. I told you what, problems always happen a few weeks before camp and a few weeks after, and I haven't delved into it, but it says here Broncos Cooper arrested for alleged harassment, which we hope it's not true. But I just don't understand these guys. They all pretty much. I had heard. I know it's not that way with all the athletes, but I had heard at one point that everybody just moved, to the city, and they would always, that would be their main workout. Now you got the prima donnas that would go somewhere else, but I think it was their main workout place, and because they're always there with teams, they're always wanting to watch film. Now it didn't used to be that way when I played. There was a group that stayed there, and then there was a group of us that left, and I think the ones from the South, I think, left because we knew we could play golf on Valentine's Day. And,
right, yeah.
but I think it's gotten to the point now to where they just move to the city, and they're always there. So it's the very, very low level of getting in trouble, because you're being held accountable by your other players.
Right. I love it. Yeah. Again, and that's the things we talk about this time of year. It's more about the police blotter than it is anything else. But guys are in OTAs. You've been seeing some video from around the league surfacing. Apparently, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were penalized one OTA practice for being too physical. So again, that's I guess there's certain limits, especially in the off season, as far as what you can and can't do. And so that was an interesting thing. That was one of the things you had in your notes there. So
well, I've got a couple of stories to tell you on that. So we'll do it on the second on the flip side of the commercial. But yeah, it's again, I'm not up to date on all the rules, but I know that that's one of them. So I would assume that some heads kind of turned away and looked up into the stands while something was going on. But players are smart today. Players know that I'm not going to win here on the field right here. I've got to stay healthy. So we'll talk about it.
Yep, we'll hit it right here on the other side of the break, man. Visit us on social media, The Sports Pig on Facebook, The Morning Rant on Instagram and YouTube. And The Morning Rant also available in podcast form on our website, sportspigradio.com, and wherever you listen to your favorite daily podcasts on both Apple and Android platforms, including Spotify, Podbean, you name it. You can also interact with us on Twitter. I'm at Dave Garner 777. He's at John Davis _65. And this is The Morning Rant. Hey, keep it right here when we come back. Here on the Friday happy hour edition of the program, we're going to dive into some NCAA talk, the whole Brandon Sorsby mess, and a whole lot more as we lead into Chuck Oliver at 11 o'clock here today, the king of college football with Southern Sports Today. But we're going to lead right up to him here and kind of whet your appetite for some college football right here on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com.
Welcome to your hometown pub. Open 7 days a week, the pub in Ella J is your happy hour hangout. They offer a variety of dishes to satisfy every palate, and their friendly staff is here to ensure a wonderful time. Join them for daily happy hour specials Monday through Thursday. And don't forget, every Wednesday is Wing Wednesday with $1 wings all day long. Located at 941 Maddox Drive in East Ella J. Open Sunday through Wednesday till midnight, Thursday through Saturday till 2 a.m. The pub in Ella J, where every visit feels like home. Big opinions.
Nobody perfect.
of the big games from the big mouths.
Man, I think it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's the Morning Rant on WPGY, the Sports Pig, North Georgia's home for ESPN Radio.
Sit down.
Back here on this Friday happy hour edition of the program. Again, Bradley's Bar and Grill, our sponsor, will be there next Friday for the Bradley's Brunch and Lunch second leg of our summer tour. Looking forward to it. Going to be smoking some meats there. We're going to be auctioning off and some different things there. And, of course, you can buy some raffle tickets for some big John Davis jerseys, man. One from each era of his playing career, a Gilmer High jersey, a Georgia Tech college jersey, and, of course, a Buffalo Bill jersey. Also a autographed signed book by Coach Bill Curry. And, man, a lot of other things going on there. Again, all the proceeds going to benefit local area charities. Again, the North Georgia Boys and Girls Clubs, which is based in Jasper, but they serve all of North Georgia. I know there's facilities in, Ellijay and Calhoun and other places as well. Of course, the Appalachian Children's Center in Ellijay, which serves as a multidisciplinary organization that investigates and brings folks together to pull together child abuse cases and things like that. And then, of course, you have the Cobb PAL, which is the Cobb County Police Athletic League that goes to fund, different activities and things for police officers in Cobb. So a lot of great charities are going to benefit from you being there and participating next Friday at Bradley's. We're going 10 to 1, another 3-hour show. We'll be on the air all morning. It is a federal holiday, so some of you are probably going to be off that day, and we expect to see you there. But either way, if you can't make it down to Lower Roswell Road there in East Cobb, at least join us on the air for part, if not all, of our 3-hour program that day. And, man, enjoy it. Father's Day weekend. It's a great way to get the weekend started.
Yeah, no, it's a big day for the Capones at Bradley's, and it's anniversaries this week as well. Having a smoked barbecue. I'm going to talk to John after our show, and I'm going to go down to the fire station and see if they might not bring a fire truck out. So since it's a holiday and the parents are off, maybe they'd be able to give them something to come by and bring the kids by and let them see it and stuff. So I'm going to check into that. I don't know if that's going to happen. If it does, I'll definitely let you know sometime during next week. But no, it's going to be a big day. I tell you, the second time around with John Capone, I've got people that are excited to come, and everybody's included. Hester even had one of her guys that she partners with in business. He came Sunday,
John,
like, this person? And Hester's like, yeah, he was on the 11th hole and you were on the 14th hole at the golf tournament. But no, we're going to have a lot of smoked meats. We're going to have pork barbecue sandwiches. I think John's selling them for like $2 a piece. It's just still the wings, and you got to realize how good the wings were.
Oh yes, absolutely.
And then nachos, pork nachos. There's just going to be a lot of stuff that we're going to smoke some chicken, smoke some ribs, smoke some sausages, smoke a little bit of salmon. And so, it's going to be a great day and another 3-hour show. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the most important thing is, Dave, is that you've got a huge announcement for the Morning Rant.
Yeah, we do. We're going to make some big announcements about the show and the station, again, the Sports Pig, and so we're excited about that. So you'll have to be tuning in anyway, regardless, to hear that. And we'll be doing a lot of that over the other 3 hours that we have there that day on the program. So very excited about that. Very excited about the what's coming up, and we're going to reveal that next Friday, a week from today, right here on the Morning Rant. Hey, we were talking before the break. Again, Patrick Mahomes, $500 million quarterback, the first 4-year guaranteed $64 million, $256 million over 4 years. I mean, it's crazy. Coming off of the ACL, as we talked about, and so a lot of big news there breaking about the NFL. The Falcons also making a trade as well for another offensive lineman.
Yeah, they got to stack him up, and he's versatile, playing started 16 of the 43 games he was in Houston. But I think more than anything, he's versatile. I don't know if from what I've read, his toughness level factor is not as much as I think, or injury. Let me put it the injury side of it.
Injury prone,
Yeah, and so you got to be careful with that. But, Dave, you got to stack them up in the summertime because one of them, hey, that's the way I was when I came through, pal. I mean, I was just trying to fight to make the team, and unfortunately, the guy who was in front of me was a very good football player, Leonard Burton, but he tore his knee up, and it was the next man up, and that was my opportunity. If it hadn't happened, it would have been a different scenario. But things like that happen. But at the end of the day, I've learned this, and I hate to even say it and admit it, but you've got to treat it like a business, and then you just have to go out there and block everything else out, and just realize that that they're standing in front of what you want to do, and then you make that decision.
When the opportunity is there, you got to seize the moment. And hopefully for Wanya Morris, that is who the Falcons traded for from the Chiefs there. Former third-round pick, started 16-43, as you said, John. Again, they already got Jawan Taylor from the Chiefs as well, so trying to take, some of that offensive line. I know the Chiefs are trying to retool their offensive line, so you assume they're probably shipping these guys off because they really don't need them, don't want them. But nonetheless, hopefully they'll work out in Atlanta because the Falcons do need the depth there. Before we get into some of our college stuff, I did want to give you the chance, because you said you did have a couple of stories about physical practices, because the Bucs did have one of their OTAs taken away for being too physical. And so, man, I wanted you to be able to share a little bit about that and kind of some of your experiences about, OTAs and different things like that.
So I think this has gone on for a long time, obviously. When I say a long time, 40s, 50s, we have no idea how those players were treated in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and 70s. The coaching back then was, it was, look at Don Shula, look at Lambeau, you look at all those tough, hard coaches. Practices weren't easy. But once we got a little bit more of aware, and the players' union started getting involved, and we started setting some boundaries and guidelines, it started getting a little bit easier. Some teams tried to abuse it more than others. Quick story that I will tell you: when I was with the Houston Oilers, you're supposed to practice. You could have 2 days, and then a half a day, and then the other half is off. And then 2 days, a half a day, and the other day's off. We went 31 straight days with either a 1, 2, or a 3 day, and the games were included in there. So finally, one of our group reps called the NFL, and at that time we had gone about 3 weeks straight, and so he called the NFL office and said, "Look, this is not right. He's killing us." And by the way, that guy was Jerry Glanville.
You're right,
And then So he, the player, I won't tell you the player, the president calls, and the NFL, well, guess who the NFL calls? Jerry Glanville. Well, guess what happens that night at meetings? The next day, it's a three practice a day, and he did not let up. And finally, after like 30 days, we broke camp. So today, in today's world, they're giving so much money out that they've got to be very careful in their off-season training programs. They are on the field. Our off-season training programs, we would be on the field, but we would be running against air. We wouldn't be running against anybody. Today, apparently, it's you're putting your shells on and maybe your knee braces and stuff like that. So I can understand, and some, the coach, I forget the Tampa coach, but he's sitting there saying, it's like we're trying to tell them and coach them not to fall down, and look, come on, dude, it's not that hard. You're not fooling anybody. So it wouldn't surprise me if the fines got bigger. And again, David switches into 18 games and 2 games in the off season or preseason. All that, so it's all tied in with each other. But these guys, trust me, these guys are going balls to the wall, and because they've got to, it's next man up, and that's the way they go.
Trying to make a team, trying to make an impression, or what have you, right there, no doubt about it. Hey, let's switch gears for just a second. Again, NCAA news, man. We've talked.
Wait, I want to tell you. Can I do one thing? Can I stop one thing? I'm sorry. Before we get off, I forgot to tell you. I got a trivia question, and I was supposed to do it at the beginning of the show.
Oh man, come on now. All right, here we go.
You were so good, you got me off track. Okay, here's the question. Here's the trivia question right now. Name the all-time winningest percentage coach with 200 wins. The all-time winning percentage coach for that has 200 wins.
Now, are we talking? Is this NFL or what?
I'm sorry, NFL. Well, I
NFL.
know we talk about football. What else are you thinking?
Well, college. I mean, I didn't know if you were talking about college. I didn't know if you were talking about college football, pro football.
Who needs
high
the other
school
coffee?
football? Hey,
Who
man.
needs the other cup of coffee?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Who is the all-time winning who has the all-time winning percentage for a coach with 200 wins?
Let's see here. I'm going to go.
Coaches have 200 wins.
Well, let's see here. Joe Gibbs is probably one of those, right? Is he one of the 8? He's probably not. Let's see here. Tom Landry, Marv Levy.
Let's let somebody. Don't guess it until I'm not going to give you the answer.
You're not going to give me the answer. Well, hey, I tell you what. Let's put it out there to everybody right now. Jasper Coca-Cola text line again is open 866-888-0744. Again, the NFL coach with the all-time winningest win percentage that's won at least 200 games. And again, maybe we'll throw it. Maybe we'll send you a T-shirt or something if you get the answer right. So we're gonna hold off on the answer for a minute, and when we come back. On the other side of the break, we'll reveal the answer. But nonetheless, man, hey, good trivia question. See, I love
got a lot of them. I got a lot of them.
You know me too, and I love throwing out trivia questions right here on the show too. So that's a good one, man. You caught me off guard with that one, man. I like it.
We're gonna have to get Darren to sweeten up our little giving basket so we can get some hats or something out to these guys.
Yeah, we are working on some swag right now. So hopefully we get some swag to the table right here. But when we come back, we are going to talk a little bit about the college situation right there. Some other news and notes that have popped up throughout the week, and we'll go down memory lane with Big John, the refrigerator mover, right here in the final segment of the program. Again, thank you guys so much for being with us right here on this Friday happy hour edition of the program. Final segment when we come back right here. You're listening to the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com.
Financial scams are on the rise, and with AI, they're getting more and more sophisticated every day. If someone pressures you to act quickly, ask for secrecy, or request payment through gift cards, wire transfers, or cryptocurrency, stop. Legitimate financial professionals don't rush you or demand unusual payment methods. Before you send money or share personal information, slow down and verify. Protect your future. When in doubt, ask questions.
If you're suspicious of a scam, call the team at Foundation Wealth today at 706-278-0214.
We bring the heat. You bring the trash talk.
Come on, man. Are you serious?
It's the Morning Rant, live on the Sports Pig app and sportspigradio.com.
All right, welcome back to the Friday happy hour edition of the Morning Rant. Dave Garner inside with the refrigerator mover, John Davis, here on a gorgeous Friday in North Georgia, by the way. Looking forward to a good weekend. Perro Park opening in Jasper. They're going to have their Main Street Live, their downtown event, taking place tomorrow night, and the ribbon cutting earlier in the day. So a shout out to our friends at the City of Jasper. Again, Brandon Douglas, the city manager, Carly Glaze as well, the community relations manager. And so, big weekend for folks in Jasper and really all over North Georgia. I mean, there's a lot of things going on tonight as well here locally. I know we're talking about sports all over the country here, but our trivia question before the break was, and Big John asked it, I'll let you ask it again. Go ahead. And
who has the all-time winningest percentage for a head football coach in the NFL with 200 wins?
So we did get. So we do have a couple of responses here on the Jasper Coca-Cola text line 866-888-0744. Let's see if any of them are correct. One caller said Andy Reid. They were guessing Andy Reid. That is not correct. Although,
correct, but I do have another
on the list
question that involves him next week.
Okay, all right. So there you go. Andy Reid, I believe, maybe in the top 5 of that. The other answer that we had was Don Shula, getting even closer. Was that it?
That's
it.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So
77%. 77% of his wins in the NFL, including playoffs. So, and the next closest one right behind him, believe it or not, it was Tom Landry. And then, and these are like very minute percentage points, and then Bill Belichick, and then I think Andy Reid came out the top end.
Right there as well. So, again, there you go, man. A little trivia. Like we always say, man, even if you don't like the show, at least you'll learn something. So, again, appreciate you guys tuning in right here. Hey, real quick before we get to our memory lane with the refrigerator mover, some news and notes coming down about the whole Brandon Sorsby thing. Apparently, the Texas Tech AD coming out with a response to all those people that are saying, hey, we're not scheduling you guys anymore. Black eye for Texas Tech, this, that, and the other. And kind of he's a little defiant.
Yeah, well, they had a video on ESPN last night. I was watching that the AD, president, assistant AD, head coach all got on, and they were trying to, tell everybody and help them understand that it's not really their fault with everything that's going on, and they shouldn't be punished. And I'm like, and again, the narcissistic side of these guys are you cannot get help in 3 months from a gambling addiction.
Right.
I don't care what anybody says. So everybody's missing the whole picture, and guess who's not in the picture? The NCAA.
Yeah. NCAA.
Of course, So, I think I heard Dakich yesterday say that, the teams can't. They've already set the groundwork for lawsuits saying if they colluded against them to not let them play. So there's, Texas Tech is going to be playing this year. Sorsby, I don't know if there's something will happen in the next 6 weeks or so, 7 weeks, but something will have to, something's going to happen, and you hope it's the right way, because if it's not, then college football is ruined forever. If you're going to let a full-time gambler like that for $90,000, and I'm not mad at the kid. I'm just saying if you're going to allow this individual to come in there and place those bets for that much money, then you're just saying, kids, go do it, because we'll find a judge to get you in.
Right, exactly.
It will officially be ruined, or it'll officially be pro status to me.
Yeah, well, I think it's already there. I mean, I said it earlier in the week as well.
And on top of that, I'm sorry. Did you see where they're paying recruits to come for official visit, for non-official visits? Did you ever see? that?
No.
Can you believe that? They paid one recruit.
But it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, they paid one recruit $10,000 to make the appearance, and then he had to sign a few autographs. They are giving him boat rides, cruises, you name it. Yeah. And the players have come out and said, well, if you want me to come to your school, what's in it for me? So it's already dipped all the way down to the recruiting. And some of these kids are sophomores, and they're already so there. I never thought it would, but until I read this article.
It's ruined, man. I'm telling you, it's ruined. It's just, it is what it is. You've opened up that Pandora's box, and now you're reaping what you're sowing. And by letting money come in the way that it has, you've completely changed, again, the complexion of college sports. I don't know if forever. I mean, I guess, you can always kind of turn around. But at this point, how are you going to shut all that out? How would you turn around and put it back to the way it was? It's not. I don't think it's ever going to return the way it was.
No, I don't think it is either. And it's a shame. You have your allegiance to your team. I lost my train of thought, but you have your allegiance to your team, and I'll always be for Georgia Tech, and I'll and them doing well, and I appreciate all the fans out there. But when you're sitting up in the stands, you have to wonder, hey, is that? I mean, he's a pretty good quarterback. He shouldn't be doing that, or stuff like that, or hey, this guy's the top 5 tackler in the nation, and you let somebody just run right over you. You're always going to have that in the back of your mind, and that's what's going to suck about the whole thing.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, the Texas Tech AD defiant says Sorsby will play. The team saying they won't play Texas Tech. As Big John said, watch out for collusion, some other things that could happen right there. And, schools paying recruits. It used to be where legally back in the day you could take out a recruit for $30 or something. Like they gave you a little stipend or whatever. I mean, you could get away with that. That was just part of taking a kid out to the movies or a bar or whatever. But now you're talking about $10,000 for a non-official visit. I mean, my goodness gracious, man. I got to check, see if I got any eligibility. Nobody would want me anyway. That'll kind of lead into a little bit of what we're talking about here in the next couple minutes as we transition on now, as we get set to head down memory lane with my man right here on the program.
It's time to take a stroll down memory lane with the Refrigerator Mover.
All right, so here we go, a weekly feature right here, and my man Big John, man, we love to hear the stories because, as I've always said, I mean, you bring such a unique perspective to this show that you can't get anywhere else. So where are we going today, partner, with this conversation?
Well, this past weekend, as you know, you and Hester had planned a little dinner party for you, me, Liz, and her, and we were going to kind of have it be like a little celebration of what's getting ready to happen for you and me. And but it turned into Hester's like, no, we're going to have some more people over. So 4 people turned into 18, and but it was a lot of fun. A lot of people, different backgrounds. I thought everybody got along very well. My buddy, you and my teammate Pete Wellborn and his wife Susan came, and we started talking, and it made me realize, Pete was a walk-on from Macon, and and Pete was and is a hell of a guy, and Pete is crazy. He's a quarterback with a linebacker mentality. He was a walk-on, but he did everything, or he would do everything the coach would ask him to do to help our team. Not only helping himself, but to help our team. And because being a walk-on is not an easy job, especially at Georgia Tech. So, I was thinking about you, and I knew you had gone to college, but I couldn't exactly remember the playing status that you had, and you informed me that you were a walk-on as well. Yep. And we just had lunch with one of the buddies of mine that I kind of feel like I'm a little bit of a big brother to him, great kid, Kyle Ray. Kyle Ray came down to Georgia Tech and was a walk-on for 2 years. And we got to overlap down there. But I always had an affinity for the walk-ons because of the pure dedication that they put into it. They, besides training camp, they don't get to eat with us. They're in separate kind of locker rooms back in the back. They're kind of isolated, which I never really understood why, because they're still part of our team, but I didn't say anything. And then the excitement that you would see that for a game, the walk-on of the week that was going to get to dress with the game and stuff. And I've become friends with, and ever since Pete and me and Robert Massey, the 3 of us put together the Curry Huddle, we have had a chance to bring back hundreds of people in that era. For Bill Curry, in honor of Bill Curry. And but getting back to my relationship with Pete and Susan, it's been so much fun. It's been such a joy reigniting our friendship and remembering how crazy that SOB was and the dedication that he had for Georgia Tech. And I'll say this now, and he would probably kill me for doing it, but I will say it. He's got a museum down there for Bill Curry, Coach Bill Curry, that rivals some of the best. I mean, he put so much energy, time, everything into it, and who knows, he might have a Bill Curry day to where we let people come in there and kind of take a look at it. But the walk-ons that truly come to Georgia Tech, they're a special breed. They've got the hard rigors of they don't get tutoring. They don't get some of that little stuff that we take for granted. So they got to go out and find their own. Wow. So it's just, I have so much gratitude for them, and they're such good guys, and we're meeting more and more of them as they come through the Curry Huddle. So I just had that on my mind. I thought that's awesome, Sunday was such a great time, and I was like thinking, you know what, it's just another special moment that you get to have with people who only played with you and stuff, and played the same sport. We kind of have a fraternity, and that just kind of warmed my heart. And I just felt like we needed to get it off.
I love it, man. I love it. Hey, I got a quick walk-on story real quick. So I had no business being on a college football field. I was an average high school football player at best. And some of my teammates that might be listening right now can probably confirm that. But I had the opportunity, and I went off to school, and I went to Southern Miss and was able to walk on there. And to your point, but now, we were very much part of the team, went through all the practices. But back then you still had athletic dorms. That was right on the tail end of that. So I was able to eat and, live with just kind of experience that. And it helped me, especially now as a broadcaster and everything, to be able to go through that experience. But what was funny was on media day. All right. Well, you got over 100 players, so you're having to double up the numbers, right? So I was wearing a jersey that happened to be the same number as the starting quarterback of, the varsity team, right? And so, I'm all of 5 foot nothing, 100 nothing. And I've got all these reporters and I've got people coming up to me saying, hey, I was told I need to get interview with number 8, and you're wearing number 8. And I was like, well, I ain't the number 8 you're looking for. There's another number 8 over there that's the starting quarterback. I think that's probably who you want. And they're like, well, I was just told I need to get, with number 8. And I was like, well, I'm not Tommy Waters, the starting quarterback. I'm but I kind of played into it. But it's funny. You got kids coming up getting autographs and stuff. And I'm like, well, hey.
They, you're just doing what they ask you.
Exactly.
Well, that's a great memory. Yeah, that's a great memory.
So there you go. So that's my memory right there. But hey, we appreciate you guys being with us right here on this Friday happy hour edition of the program. Right on cue, man. My buddy Mark Johnson, who I played with, a teammate there, he said better than average. Come on, man. I wasn't, but I appreciate the love, man. Again, my friend Mark messaging me right here. Listen to the program as always, one of our dedicated listeners. But we are out of time, man. On this Friday happy hour edition of the program brought to you by Bradley's Bar and Grill, and also out of time for the week, man. We'll see you back here on Monday, Big John. Looking forward to it. As always, a great job here today.
Thank you so much. If you have a chance, be a positive influence on somebody's life today.
There you go, man. I love it. There's the challenge right there from the refrigerator mover himself, Big John Davis, right here on the Morning Rant. I'm Dave Garner. Thanks for being with us. Once again, visit our social media. The Sports Pig is on Facebook. The Morning Rant is on Instagram and YouTube. You can also catch the podcast version of the Morning Rant on our website, sportspigradio.com, and wherever you listen to your favorite daily podcast on both Apple and Android platforms, including Spotify, Podbean, you name it. You can also interact with us on social media. Catch me on Twitter at DaveGarner777. He's at JohnDavis_65, and this is the Morning Rant. As always, our Jasper Coca-Cola text line is still open even when we're off the air, so chime in overnight. We'll get to it the next morning right here at 866-888-0744. Chuck Oliver up next with Southern Sports Today. We'll see you. Have a great weekend.
When you get hurt from an accident, it can feel like no one is listening to you. The insurance company talks over you. The bills keep coming. It's like the pain and inconvenience doesn't even matter to them. But your story does matter, and here at Geiger Legal, we will make sure your story is heard loud and clear. My name is Casey Geiger, and my firm stands up for people who have been wronged through someone else's negligence. Let us tell your story. Let us get the justice you deserve, and let's start today.
Call Geiger Legal Group at 833-HELP-GLG. That's 833-HELP-GLG, and let us tell your story today.